lot of trying, whole lot of crying, whole lot of telling me I should be dying to be like you, but I don't wanna be like you. Cause I could do better. I could do better. I could do better than that. And you should know better. You should know better. You should know better than that.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Late Bloomer Podcast. I'm your host, Aliyah Joye. And funny enough, today I'm wearing a shirt that says Standards. A friend of mine who's a Christian rapper, her Christian rap name is Righteously, but her name is TJ. And I love this shirt. I wore this shirt without the intention of really knowing why, but it's fitting because this is the title of her song, Standards, and it's all about setting proper boundaries with people and making sure that you're respected in your friendships and your relationships, and setting those standards personally for yourself so other people will respect those. And so that brings me to today's topic, y'all. We're going to be talking about friendships, okay? And I know I can speak for everybody when I say making friends as an adult is not easy. Making friends and maintaining friendships is not easy. I feel like, the older generations, they used to make a friend in elementary and they be friends their whole life. But I think that a lot of us force those relationships to happen because we outgrow things. What I'm noticing about that generation is they outgrew a lot of things, a lot of people, and they didn't acknowledge that, right? They just try to make the familiar, because they're familiar with someone, they continued in relationships. Well, our generation, we're more prone to dropping people off or, and not being real about what we need, right? Or confronting what we need and going to therapy and evolving, right? We're more prone to doing that. And switching jobs and doing all these other things. Well, I feel like the older generation, they were more prone to staying in a place of comfort and not really coloring outside the lines. Even though they really wanted to, they never really stepped out and changed things for themselves, relationships included. But as for me, I refuse to settle. So my standards are high for myself. And so I want to be in relationships where I'm respected. I want to be in relationships where I'm valued, and I'm valued for who I am and what I bring to the table or what I don't have. You know what I mean? I want to be valued in relationships, and I want things to be reciprocal. I think that's okay to want those things. And to be transparent, I didn't really want to do this episode today just because I've had to make a change in my friend group. I've had to confront a situation or a friendship or a relationship for what it was. It was a seasonal one, and that season has passed. And I'll just get into it a little bit. So let's just dive in, okay, y'all? So what happened was, I'm an entrepreneur. I have a design company a branding company where I'm a creative director. I do brand design. I do graphic design, all of the things, right? And so I actually just made a new friend. We haven't even been friends an entire year. And, she reached out and was kind of telling me, what was going on and some things that she knows God is calling her to do that she's kind of like, I kind of don't know where to start. And I said, well, I'm your girl, okay? Talk to me, baby. I got you. And so we get into it. We start talking, and she's like, well, where can I book my appointment? Where can I book the consultation? Where can I pay my money? She's like, don't give me a discount because we're friends. I respect your business. I want to pay you what you're worth. The next day comes, and a friend I've had for almost a decade reaches out, and she says, I need you to do something I need you to make this thing for me. Would you be down to do it? I said, absolutely, I would. And she continues the conversation on, didn't talk about payment, didn't talk about setting up a proper meeting, continues on with what her need is. And for me, old Aliyah would have just went on with the flow and did it for free. But as I, told my mom and my sister about it, I was just sitting down, happened to be talking about it, like, yeah, so-and-so reached out so I can do this for her. And they said, you absolutely better not do it for free. And I said, you're right. I have a company, and she's also a fellow entrepreneur. And had the shoe been on the other foot, she would have strictly sent me an invoice before saying anything else. So I had to be serious about my company and respect myself enough and respect what God is having me build enough to go ahead and put my foot down and be honest and be real and be like, hey, I'm going to shoot you an invoice. Hey, let's set up a meeting. This is how my process goes. So as I'm sitting there and I'm realizing that this person has every intention of not paying me or treating my business as a business or treating what I do as an entrepreneur with respect, I sat there and I started telling God, like, I don't want this type of friendship. I don't want this type of relationship, because this isn't the first time. What happened was he allowed it to happen to bring up old wounds that I hadn't addressed with this person, from making me feel small or making what I do less important than what they do, or whatever the case may be. And they kind of still saw me from a lens of a girl from the past and not the girl that God has evolved me to be, the woman he's evolved me to be, this entrepreneur. They kind of were treating me like I was still that shorty doo-wop that needed them as sort of a voice of reason or a mentor in my life. And so that was my own fault. But now it was the ball was in my court to set that boundary. So what did I do? I prayed about it, okay? I talked to God. I say, Lord, give me the words to say. Help me deal with this. Give me a clear understanding of what's going on and how I need to go about this, because I don't like confrontation. I am very much an avoidant when it comes to the people that are closest to me, that are close to my heart. And because the last thing I want to do is sever the relationship or make you feel like I don't appreciate you or make you feel like small. And so I prayed about it, and God told me Ruth. He said, go to the book of Ruth. If you ain't read the Bible, please crank that thing. If you ain't read Ruth, please crank that thing, because you won't know nothing I'm talking about. But I'll give you a backstory. So Ruth is a story all about this young woman that was a widow. So it starts off actually with her mother-in-law, Naomi. God caused a famine to happen in his land with his people, the Israelites. And because of that famine, Naomi, her husband, and her 2 sons actually left their town and tried to go to another town. Well, they ended up going to another town that was nearby. It was a pagan town. Nobody believed in God. Nobody served the God they knew. And her sons ended up marrying some young women there. They kind of settled there. Her sons ended up marrying some of the women from that area. And her sons died and her husband ends up dying. And so she's left now with 2 young women, 2 of her daughter-in-laws, and they're all widows. So during that time, if you didn't have a man, you didn't have a thing, okay? Because it wasn't like you can get a job. It wasn't like you can go and provide for yourself, okay? So when that happened, they were down and out basically. And so Naomi got bitter, and she heard that God was sending provision back to his people, that they were flourishing back in, the town that she left. That was where God's people were. And so she said, I'm going to go back, and y'all better go back to y'all's daddy house, because I don't have nothing for you. She actually told them, why should you follow me? She tried to convince them to leave her alone. She was like, baby, I don't got nothing to offer y'all. Okay. And I don't got no sons or nothing. And I'm too old. Like, it ain't like I can go have another son with somebody and then he grows up and then y'all can marry him. And plus, if I did do that, would y'all be willing to wait for him to grow up? Because back in that time, whenever your husband dies or your son dies or someone, if they were married, what would happen is you would have another child, and basically that child would marry the oldest son's wife to preserve his bloodline, basically, because the oldest was like, that's the birthright. That's how you pass everything down to the next generation. And so they didn't have none of that happening for themselves. And she was not about to make another baby. So she said, why should y'all follow me? Go back home. And Orpah, which was one of her daughter-in-law, she straight up was like, yeah, you're right. That's making a lot of sense. You don't got much to offer me anymore, boo. You are down and out, and so am I. And I need to go back to my daddy house so he can provide for me, and I can maybe find a husband then. So, yeah. And it says she kisses her mother-in-law goodbye. And when that happens, Ruth does the opposite. Ruth is like, oh, no. Where you go, I go. Your God will be my God. Forget those people in my hometown. I'm clinging to you. Like, I'm with you. We together, okay? We in this thing together, okay? Ace, boom, cool. I'm going to kick it with you, skate with you, all of it, okay? Orpah kissed her goodbye. And so in that moment when God had me read that, he showed me, he said, who's here when you absolutely have nothing to offer? Who's here unconditionally with no contingencies? Who? Which one? So he was showing me one of them was Orpah and one of them was a Ruth. And Ruth is who I've been praying for a very long time. Anytime I would think about friendships, I would pray for Ruth. I would pray, Lord, send a Jonathan to my David. Send a Ruth to my Naomi when I'm going through, someone that would cling to me no matter what I'm going through. And the friend that didn't even respect my business in a way didn't really show up for me until it was convenient for her. Versus the other one that would inconvenience herself to show up for me. So, and it's crazy because I've known the other one that kind of showed where her heart posture was for me. I've known her way longer. So it was super disappointing. I'm telling y'all, this was like literally a few days ago. So me, being me, I sit on that and I say, Lord, I have to be real that I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to go through another cycle of being hurt by this person or feeling like an afterthought by this person. That's not the type of friendships I want. Y'all, I'm about to be 30 years old. I want the people, to be honest, that's going to be in my wedding, that's going to be a part of me and my husband's life, that are going to be around helping raise my kids and nurturing them and giving them guidance and giving them wisdom along with me and my husband. So I want the people that's going to be a part of the village. And this wasn't given that. This was given, forget your couch, just like Rick James did on that show. But yeah, she didn't respect me. So it was kind of like, get this done for me, thanks. And on the contrary, the other one was, I respect you. Can you do this for me? How much does it cost? You know what I mean? So in the same sitting, of course, I called my friend and I was just kind of like, am I tripping? What if someone did this to you? And she said, well, you have to think to yourself, is this a friendship that you want? Do you genuinely want to do this for this person? Do you think that this is something that you want to do for this person, given how you feel right now? I said, absolutely not. So, and she said, is this a friendship you want to hang on to? And I said, I think it's worth a conversation just because the years I put in, right? I think it's worth a conversation. I text the person to have a conversation. This girl said, send me voice notes. That was the end of the road. That was the end of the road, baby. And so now, I'm grateful because God allowed that turbulence to happen, because I don't be trying to let people go, and I be seat saving, right? And doing all these things because I'm afraid of rejection. I'd be afraid of rejection or afraid of, not having someone around or having friends around when I'm too grown for that now, baby. There's seasonal friendships in our lives. And we have to allow God the space to recategorize what we thought may have been a lifetime friendship was really a seasonal one. We have to allow him the space to recategorize that. It doesn't mean we have to be calling people out their name, or we don't ever have to talk to them again, or we have to be bitter and all this other stuff. It just means that we don't fit anymore. A prime example of this is B. Simone and Megan Ashley. Like for a season, they were both partying. They were both, living life and doing things. Well, Megan Ashley was a wife and a mother. B. Simone was single and a comedian, traveling wherever she wanted to when she felt like it. Didn't really have the responsibilities or obligations that Megan had. And Megan said herself, like, I found identity in being a best friend. And so what God was doing was stripping her of the false identity that she's identified with, right? And when he stripped her of that and started to reveal who she truly was, she didn't even fit the relationship she was in with B. Simone. Vice versa, B. Simone started getting a relationship with God as well and started realizing this ain't somebody that I want to be in relationship with, and that is okay. It doesn't have to end bad though, but that's okay to allow God to recategorize that. You may have been sisters or besties in one season. In the next season, you may just be associates, and that is okay. That's perfectly fine, because everybody that wants to come can't go, okay? So for me, God has been showing me, like, you have to stop seat saving. Picture yourself going on a flight, and you have a ticket with an assigned seat on that ticket. Now picture yourself going on that flight by yourself. You booked the ticket by yourself, right? And you end up sitting in the middle and saving the seats on the side of you for your friends. They don't even have a ticket to the flight. They can't even get on. And so the people that are assigned to that seat, they're waiting to sit down because they're like, what's wrong with you? I'm supposed to be sitting. That's my seat. I'm headed to the same destination you are. I'm assigned to that seat. I have a ticket to show for it. And you're saving seats for people that don't even have a ticket to that flight, let alone headed to the same destination as you. You see how that looks? That's what God had to show me just these past couple of days. And it's been so uncomfortable because ideally it makes sense, right? You're like, we're both saved. We both have been walking together. We both live similar lives, have similar interests, but that's not enough. Because if they're not equipped to handle the things that may come along the way or to help you through to journey to the place that he's sending you, then they're no good. And vice versa, you're going to be helping them and giving them things that they need. And if you're not able to do that, then you're not good for them either. Right? So, and also if you try to make people come that are not supposed to come, or make friendships last that are just not supposed to last, that have run their course, this person will continue to keep you in your past. Like, for example, this friend recently, she keeps seeing me, this friend that I recently dealt with about my business. It's because she viewed me from past me. She couldn't respect who God has made me into. She was just deeming me this young 20-some-year-old. Maybe you're having a midlife, you're just trying something. So it's not that deep. I don't know what her thoughts were, but that's how I felt in that moment. It felt like, yeah, just do this for me. I know you do little graphics or whatever. Just get this done. That's what it felt like. And it's because in the past, that's how I allowed her to view me. And she would say jump and I would say how high. But now I'm not the girl. I'm not her. She ain't me. I'm going to let you know I'm not feeling it. And that is what it is. I'm going to put the proper boundaries in place to where I'm going to be respected. I have standards for myself, you know? And that comes with time. It doesn't come overnight. And it's happened across the board in all the friendships that I've been in as an adult. And if you want to truly, like Naomi, like if you want to truly see who down for you, make some moves. Whether it's literally packing your things up and actually moving, you'll see who's coming with you, who takes that journey with you, who checks in on you, who stays connected to you. You'll see their heart motives. Even if they are doing that, you'll see their true heart motives and why they're doing it. I tell people all the time, if you want to see who your true friends are, move. I mean, move. I mean, literally. Physically move, or literally start making moves in your business or your company or in your life. Start evolving, and you'll see who gets upset about that, who respects that, who receives it, and who doesn't. Who's like, oh, you still this, oh, your little blah, 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 or your little podcast. You'll see who little you're big, who littles you're big. And if you're not careful, you'll be dragging them along. Imagine Naomi chasing after Orpah and saying, you know what, no, I do want you to come with me. After the girl just showed her, I'm not down with you like that. And we do that. We do that a lot with these relationships. Fully allowing God to recategorize your relationship, and also allowing God to make your friends for you. As of recent, I don't even make my own friends, child. The way my life be going, I don't even have the availability to do friendships. I mean, to make my own friends. Nor do I really have the desire to make my own friends, to get myself out there to quote unquote date, because making new friends is just like dating, child. And I just don't have the capacity right now. And so the people that he's bringing along to me, they know where I am. They meet me right where I am. And it's so rewarding, and I'm so grateful for it. And I have to teach myself how to receive that kind of love that I've been giving out and kind of not expecting back. And now that I'm getting it back, it's a little bit weird. It's a little bit, I don't really know how to handle it. I got to pray through it. I got to ask God, show me how to continue forth receiving this kind of love. Because by default, I want to sabotage myself out of it. I want to be like, no, I don't need you to do this for, oh, I got it. Let people show up for you, even if you're not used to it. And yeah, so how I let God pick my friends is I just don't believe people cross your path by happenstance at all. They can either be a blessing or a lesson. Amen. And so if God knows all the number of hairs on our head, of course he knows who we should be friends with and who we shouldn't. So I ask God, I don't leave him out of any decision for my life at all, especially when it comes to people. Amen. So Whenever I do meet someone or they cross my paths, I've made up my mind that just because someone picks you or deems you worthy of being their friend, you don't have to pick them back. I want to free some people up. Just because they are in the church with you or they're Christian doesn't mean y'all have to be besties. Just because they pick you doesn't mean you need to pick them back. You're not required. You're not required to. There's so many times, I've been in church and people have, oh, why don't you, so-and-so said that you, why don't y'all just hang out? Or why, like sending people my way to speak on your behalf, baby. No, I don't want to. I don't want to do that with you. Yeah, just because someone picks you doesn't mean you have to pick them back. Okay? And so for me, whenever I'm seeing someone new or I'm meeting someone new and they're like, they're vibing, they want to start building a friendship or meet up 101, I'm going to my father about it. I'm going to ask him, hey, what capacity is this person supposed to play in my life? What role is this person supposed to play in my life, Lord? And he will tell me. He will show me. My most recent close friend that I just made, she's like literally like a sister to me. Like our first conversation was literally 2 hours long. Guess how I met her? I literally was in her dad's Uber. I was in her dad's Uber talking to him about starting this podcast. And these Uber rides, y'all, is a ministry, okay? I'm telling you now. I happened to be in his car and I was talking to him about starting this podcast and things that I wanted to talk about. And he literally said, I'm preaching a sermon about that, a whole series about that starting this Sunday. And I'm like, what? And he said, I have a daughter your age and I know y'all will be really good friends. And this is at the time when I'm praying to God to send me my tribe, send me friends that will love me the way I'm loving other people. Send me some equally yoked folks, your Lord. Send me the lifetime people because I'm sick of the seasonal ones, okay? And so when that happens, he starts calling his daughter. He ends up just sending me her Instagram. I follow her. I get in her DMs like, hey, your dad said, we should talk a little bit more because, he thinks that we'd be good friends or we'd be a good fit. We had one phone call. That one phone call was 2 hours long. And child ended in prayer. That's how you know. That's when God does it. It's not like anybody else can. This same friend literally went to the same high school with me and we both were passing each other by. I was a dance team girl, I was known more so. And she was just kind of new from another town and state. And she just kind of stayed out the scene with him. And it's crazy how he does things, like how he knits these friendships together. I just take my hands off and let him do it because it blows my mind every single time. We were sitting in the car talking and I'm telling her, girl, our husbands need to hurry up and all this stuff. And she's like, I already see you. You're going to be such a beautiful bride. I already see your wedding. Starts telling me my wedding colors. I forgot to tell y'all, my friend is a prophet. Okay. She's a prophet for the Lord. She starts literally telling me my wedding colors. I couldn't have picked this person out of a crowd. This was the Lord. This was God picking my friends for me. Okay. I stay out of mix. I just, whatever he's leading me into, I acknowledge it. I pray about it and I move. On the contrary, if you're not right or your heart isn't right towards me, he will send all the bells and whistles because he knows I'm coming in. I'm going to love you. I'm going to be authentically myself. I'm going to love you unconditionally. I don't care what's going on in your life. If God aligns our path and I really love you, I cut for you. There's no conditions on that at all. But sure enough, if your heart intent is wrong for me, my father's going to tell me. He's going to tell on you. I've met a couple of people recently, and one woman in specific, her and her best friend, I met them, and God gave me a dream about these people doing witchcraft. He gave me a dream about them doing witchcraft, and they have a Christian ministry online for young women. But in my dream, they were doing witchcraft. He will tell me. He will tell me. So I don't need to have my head on a swivel. And it's so freeing not to have the spirit of suspicion, okay? Because a lot of us try to call it discernment. No, you're just suspicious, okay? You're just suspicious. You're reading too much into stuff. For me, I don't have to do that. I don't have to have my head on a swivel. My Father's going to protect me because he knows the pureness of my heart, the pureness of my love, and that if I cut for you, I really cut for you, and I'm serious about it. And so, yeah, like he will literally put me in similar situations just to show me what spirits I'm among, what type of people I'm sitting among, if they wolves in sheep clothing. He will literally put me in the same situation, same spirits, different faces, to show me what I'm there for. And there's so many times in relationships I've read, I've built relationships or best friendships with people that he just strictly put in my path for me to disciple. And then I leave the relationship feeling depleted, like I'm pouring and pouring into people and I'm not getting that reciprocated from them. It's because they didn't have it to give. Because he strictly put them in my path for me to pour into, for me to grow and to move on. But I'm expecting them to pour back. This is why you have to go to God about your relationships and letting you know what certain boundaries to put with certain people. Everybody you shouldn't be pouring into, or everybody you pour into, you shouldn't be expecting them to pour back into you in the same capacity you're pouring back into them, because perhaps he strictly only puts you in cahoots with this person or in alignment with this person strictly for you to disciple them or lead them or mentor them. And you're thinking they're supposed to be your peer, and they're really someone you're supposed to be leading forward. You're always supposed to have someone that you're mentoring, someone that's a peer with you on the same playing field, and someone that is behind you, someone that you're leading. And a lot of the times I've mistaken the person that I'm supposed to be leading as a peer. And I be feeling depleted. I be feeling like, oh, they can't get, it's not reciprocal. They don't have it to give, especially at the capacity that you're giving it. And so, yes, a lot of highs and lows in relationships, a lot of seasonal ones. But I'm finding that the people that God is bringing into my life are strictly midwives. They're people that you're going to have in a birthing room when you're giving birth to a baby. Because honestly, your purpose and whatever God has put you on this earth to do is like giving birth to a baby. It really is. He literally has been telling me the past few weeks to birth the vision, to birth the things that he put in my heart. But when you're giving birth, obviously there's people that are co-laboring with you and coaching you through it and helping you push, and that are telling you, okay, breathe. Okay, take your time. Okay, now you push. There's people in you coaching you through that, because you're just focused on the end result, which is the vision. You're focused on the baby. You're focused on putting this thing out. And so you need people alongside you, coaching you or rubbing your hair or comforting you and offering you assistance as you're pushing this thing out that God is having you give birth to, right? The vision or your purpose or whatever that may be. And so some people don't want to see you have your baby. They don't want to see you have anything healthy come out of you, right? They don't want to see you have anything flourishing, anything that's purpose driven, anything that's going to help other people and enrich other people's lives. And allow God to show you those people. And when he show you, let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Or let him recategorize where they're supposed to stand. If they are in the birthing room with you, how far to the door are they supposed to be? Are they supposed to be on the other side of the door? Are they supposed to be in the room with you as you're giving birth? Let him show you that. Allow him that space. But as of right now, he's only surrounding me around midwives. He's only giving me people that are helping me towards a vision, that are coaching me, that are comforting me, that are a Ruth to my Naomi, that are a Jonathan to my David. So I pray that this gave you a little more guidance, or this helped you in any way. My little ghetto experiences with friends can bless you in any way that I can. To seek God for these friendships, these relationships, instead of trying to date around or see where you fit in or all these. You don't have to do that. God will lead these people to you or lead you to these people. You just have to allow him to do those things for you instead of trying to pick for yourself. It's so hard, y'all. It's ghetto out here. Slim picking, even with dating, slim picking. So release that to him. Release to receive. And let God do the rest. And stack your standards, period. And don't lower them for nobody. Because you deserve everything you give, okay? And even if you think you're behind, remember, y'all, you're right on time, okay? I would love to hear some feedback from you guys. If you would write into the listening letters, I'll put the email down in the description if you're watching on YouTube. And until next time, y'all, have a good one.